Welcome to the Hall of Echoes of the Grand Library of the city of Zahra. This is where reports arrive of discoveries, expeditions, and events already shaping the world. Some are confirmed, others survive only through witness. I am Idris Nahir, Keeper of Echoes. I mark what is known and I name what is uncertain, because silence is also a choice. These are the matters before Zahra.
Peace be upon all who have entered the great library of Zahra on this fine morning. Today I am surrounded by scholars and aristocrats alike in this marvelous shining hall, all of us with the same goal in mind: discovery. You've heard of the expedition of the Company of Nine Measures. They were sent toward the Azkora Jungle, a treacherous feat in and of itself. With a room as packed as it is today, I understand how badly you all want to know what happened to the company. I assure you, I will recount every detail of their recovered journals in due time. Patience, my dear friends, is a virtue not worth abandoning. Before we delve into the adventures of the brave explorers who accepted their position in this company, let's examine the events closer to home, shall we? Within the walls of our city, the Dwarven Labor Union has orchestrated the 75th Annual Restoration Festival. Alas, today is a beautiful day to join your fellow kinfolk and rejoice in a day of rest and relaxation. The festival is one of the Dwarven Labor Union's most prestigious and highly anticipated events. Just after this symposium, you can step outside and enjoy the inaugural parade, led naturally by the Dwarven Labor Union's council members. The parade will feature plenty of exciting moments to enjoy. I myself am most looking forward to the Kinship of the Chimes of Harmony's performance this year. Rumor has it they've been working extra hard in their temple. Passers-by have heard the melodic sound of their chimes moving in harmony for days, which is to be expected given their name. Their final performance will be on a barge over the Naj al-Rumuz River, provided by the Dar al-Nar. They will be joined in the parade by the gardeners of mycelial memory. The gardeners will enjoy everything to feed their experience to the mycelium. So if you see a gnome, be sure to buy them a pint. The mushrooms will thank you, I'm sure. The Hallowed and Kinship of Chimes of Harmony will be giving away food and drinks as usual. I'm sure donations are much appreciated. Now, I'll give you all the information you've been waiting so patiently for. What happened to the Company of Nine Measures? To understand this expedition, we must understand the circumstances leading into it. The Company of Nine Measures was seeking an artifact, which is no surprise. We at the Great Library are quite predictable. A question I am asked at least once daily is how we at the library know where to search for these artifacts. I will give you my answer here now for you all. It's you. The people of this city, the refugees fleeing unraveling lands. There are many mysteries in our world, and it is only by helping each other that we can gain as much knowledge as we can. I first learned of the artifact the company was searching for through a Valish refugee. Many of you probably aren't familiar with the Valish, which is to be expected. I wasn't until their lands began unraveling within the Azkora Jungle. What I've learned in the weeks since their arrival in Zahra is that they're a nomadic people, deeply connected to the jungle. Like many of the tribes in the jungle, they move from place to place depending on the jungle's whims. What makes the Azkora Jungle so treacherous to pass through is the unknown. It shifts and moves, taking what it pleases and leaving what it doesn't care for. It's violent and unpredictable, while simultaneously being a source of life for all of the tribes within. One must be in tune with the jungle to live harmoniously with it. That is what the Valish have been for 1,000 years. I spoke at length with the woman chosen to be their tribe's historian, Asha, Keeper of the Past. Asha shared with me how their tribe began shortly after the rebellion war. They did not begin because of familial lines or a mutual desire to survive. The Valish roots begin with a relationship to a powerful occultist called in their language Spirit Breaker and Relic Bearer. A group of nomads were encountered by this great mysterious occultist and charged with protecting an artifact. What is this artifact and why does it need protecting? We'll get to that shortly, my friends. The Valish were charged with the relic and they've cared for it for over 1,000 years. Until, of course, their lands began unraveling and slipping into the void around them, and they were forced to leave without the relic, locking it away in the ancient temple that housed it. Third signs have already taken hold of the temple. Realizing they were going to lose it, they came to Zahra and sought help to recover it. Asha described the events leading up to the unraveling, which I can easily attribute to each different sign. She told me that it began with the animals behaving strangely. Flocks of birds would dive from the canopy and crash into the temple dying. Wolves would walk into their encampment and sit quietly by the fire. Strange symbols would be etched into the dirt and lined with pebbles, with nobody admitting to creating them. The Valish stayed and attributed these omens to signs they were on the right path with the task their tribe had been charged with to care for the artifact. But then, when the second signs inevitably came around, they realized something else was happening. Their livestock was born deformed, with some multiple heads and some without limbs. The plants they would harvest for dyes and fabric would wither as soon as they were plucked from the earth. But most suspiciously, children that were born had an ethereal quality to them, not being like the kinfolk of the rest of the tribe. We know these as emergent kinfolk. The strange abilities and attitudes of these new tribe members are directly linked to the unraveling. The realm of Mirelia, where the ravenous spirits are locked away in their dreamlike world, seeped into the tribe. This is when they decided they had to leave. The only problem was the relic they could not leave behind. As the world was unraveling around them, and as they were preparing to flee, they had a visit from a mysterious stranger who tried to encourage them to stay. She wanted them to die with their land, with pride, and avoid coming to Zahra at all costs. The Valish did the intelligent thing and refused. Asha could not tell me more about this mysterious visitor, but I should like to find out who they are and talk some sense into them myself. 5 seasoned explorers were selected to lead the expedition of the Company of 9 Measures. But my heart is heavy to announce that these journals were not handed over to the Great Library by them. We do not know precisely what became of them on their journey, but none have returned home. These journals were recovered by a group of traveling merchants. They discovered the journals nearby abandoned provisions that belonged to the company. What's most curious about this fact is the company went inside the temple, but never seemed to come out. How did their journals end up waiting at an abandoned campsite? Now, I won't say there is some kind of conspiracy at play here, but I won't stop you from saying it either. It is time to give you all what you have been so patiently waiting for. I'll begin reading the journals in chronological order. Journal 1. Baruch Chainbreaker of the Guardians of the Vault. Warden Pania from the library approached me about the expedition first. She told me about the Valish people and the relics they left behind in the Azkora Jungle. At first, I was hesitant to accept the position leading this group. I have only attempted to travel through the jungle once, and I made a vow never to do it again. After I denied her request, Pania spoke with our anonymous patriarch and came back to me with a higher offer, one I found difficult to refuse. Perhaps I should have been more skeptical about the haste in which Pania wished to send me off. The expedition is very comfortably funded, and I was given a handsome bonus to assemble the rest of the group quickly and depart Zahra within 3 days. I wasn't told much before accepting, only that the Valish tribe saw the third signs and fled, with many of their people leaving important relics behind. One in particular holds great value with their people. Pania tells me they have not explained why, though I know her well enough by now to see she is withholding something. Needless to say, I've studied enough grammaturgy in my days to use glyphs to uncover the truth on my own. It is my understanding the Valish would want this relic if it means so much to their tribe. Bringing it back to the library and handing it to my fellow guardians of the vault would mean sealing away the artifact and whatever powers it may hold. This is a curious mission, to say the least. Today, I have finished assembling the rest of my company. Together, we make up the Company of 9 Measures, the name given to us by our anonymous, yet very generous patriarch. For the role of Shield Captain, I have chosen the illustrious Zurel Watchful Battlebringer of the Kinship of the Chimes of Harmony. The orc's reputation preceded him, and upon our first meeting, I understood why he became the legend he is through Zahra. His stature was nothing short of imposing, and I can say with absolute confidence that the less battle-ready of our company will be in good hands with Zurel. The field scholar I selected is Nisara Openhand of the Illuminated Petal. Nisara was recommended to me by Warden Pania, and I was relieved to learn she is not some singing minstrel only seeking adventure for song. She is a true scholar interested in collecting stories for posterity's sake, specifically of the lands taken by the Third Signs. I believe she will be invaluable to our company uncovering the truth of the artifacts we discover. Of course, we needed a store master. Who better to pick than a Dar al-Nar guild member? Kadira the Caring has been on plenty of expeditions. Upon meeting him, however, it was obvious his moniker was ironic. He is a stout man who wears a scowl unlike any I've seen before. But he's very good with trade and has promised to negotiate extraordinary deals for our provisions before leaving. Being associated with the Dar al-Nar, I'm sure will aid us immensely. Finally, it was recommended we travel with a mediator. The woman has no name as she has relinquished it, alongside all her worldly possessions becoming the hollow. She carries a sense of calmness about her that I'm sure will help alleviate any issues that arise during our travels. Though I am curious why a hollowed would want to go on a journey like this. After all, they do not hold possessions or assign value to currency. They tend to spend most of their time working to help Zahra's refugees find hot meals and fitting clothes. Her eagerness to join us is yet another curiosity I'm certain I'll uncover sooner than later. Her joining us serves a dual purpose, though, as the titles she renounced were of the desert tribe Sur al-Ramel. She can guide us through those lands safely so we don't find ourselves in trouble with the rest of the tribe. We're set to depart in 3 days' time with ample provisions and preparations for what we might encounter in the unraveling jungle of the Third Signs. Journal 2. Kadira the Caring. My venture into the market has been most frustrating. I am well aware of the timeline we're on, and with each passing hour I haven't secured our rations and supplies. I feel the fulgurite shards being chipped away from my earnings. I have been a loyal member of the Dar al-Nar since birth, born into the House of the River by 2 guild member parents. I have lived and breathed negotiations and taxing merchants throughout Zahra, and now they turn me down? Ionas attempted to upcharge me a percentage that made no sense with his previous tax payments. It's as if there is some form of conspiracy at bay, though I don't know what it could be. I might not well be the most adored in the city, but my fulgurite's as good as anyone's. I'll have to report to Baruch my failure. The thought of it now twists my stomach. It's still early and he's capable of selecting another store master for the expedition, costing me greatly. Perhaps I could stay behind and uncover the meaning behind this outright disrespect I have been given in the market. The thought of being unassigned from this expedition fills me with sorrow. It's been years since I've left the safety and comfort of Zahra's walls. I was very much looking forward to journeying again. I shall attempt to purchase more provisions at first light. If I can manage to acquire the bare necessities, there will be no need to tell Baruch of all my failings, and I might still be able to join the Company of 9 Measures yet. Journal 3. Nisara Openhand of the Illuminated Petal. We leave for the Azkora Jungle at first light. Baruch sent the entire company into the city after our formal introduction last night so we could all accomplish our pre-journey goals prior to leaving. Kadira drank too much during our meal and nearly started a fight with the merchant he knows from his work with the House of the River. If it weren't for Zurel and our gentle nameless Hollowed, we might have seen an outbreak of fisticuffs. I don't deny that it might have been enjoyable to watch, perhaps if I had had more alcohol anyway, but I needed my wits about me for my task today. Regardless of that, I haven't made much progress uncovering details about what we're looking for in the jungle. The Valish people seem to be holding their cards close to the chest. I don't see why. We have our own ways of uncovering truth about these relics. Would it not be easier for all parties simply to let us know what we're working with? The Guardians of the Vault and the Great Library are of no help either. There seems to be some sort of secret to these artifacts, and I am determined to uncover it. What other reason could there be for the vast amount of funding we have received for this? I make a note to myself to inquire with the Hollowed about what she means to do with her portion. It makes little sense that the Hollowed would need as much fulgurite as we are being offered. Might it be that she'd be willing to give up her share to the rest of us as the tenets of her beliefs? After speaking with the Baelish, I have pieced together the story of their escape from their infected lands. The first and second signs came upon them, and they chose to stay, denying the truth of the matter as many often do, by attributing Mirelia's bleeding into our plane as an omen. One Baelish I spoke with, a young man named Ozan, told me they tried to appease it when the first of their children were born with strange features. I asked about what it was, but he refused to answer. Neither did he tell me what they did to appease it. The most curious detail I've uncovered, though, is from a child named Seren. She is no older than 5 and clearly does not understand the need for secrecy the others of her tribe feel. That might just work to our benefit, though. Seren told me they were departing the jungle for Zahra. They were approached by an outsider. Someone who insisted they stay in their land and succumb to the infection because it's the only way they can all be reborn. This sounded very familiar to me. I thought about it and remembered a colleague of the Illuminated Petal talking about some inane society operating within the walls of Zahra, advocating for complete unraveling of the world to be born anew. This raises a question of what this society might know of the tribe and the relics they've left behind. I, for one, will not be seeking them out with the limited time we have, though. That is an adventure for another time. Perhaps Baruch knows more about their involvement with the Baelish. Journal 4. Zurel Watchful Battle Bringer of the Kinship of the Chimes of Harmony. Our first day of journeying was fraught with complications. I thought that an expedition as well funded as our own might depart smoothly, but this is proof that wealth does not truly make life easier. Kadir struggled to obtain our provisions, that much is clear. We have little rations and supplies. I wasn't sure if we'd have enough to survive traveling through the Barqiya Desert. Once we are in the mountains, we can hunt and forage for food though, but it seems making it to the mountains in one piece will be our first objective. About halfway through the day, our group came under attack by none other than the Sur al-Ramel. I jumped into action to protect them, injuring myself in the process. One of their arrows grazed my thigh as I stood above Nisara to protect her. It was myself and Baruch who did most of the fighting. Watching him blend swordplay with the quick use of grammaturgy was a sight to behold. We did not kill any members of the tribe. I saw to that. We were encroaching on their land, after all. Upon interrogating them about the reason for their attack, they informed us they were told we did not have a proper guide leading us through their lands. Baruch clarified that immediately by introducing our Hollowed, a former Sur al-Ramel. The man, Michaelis, realized his mistake and helped us recover some of our damaged stores and gave us a camp for the night. The 5 of us sat at our fire for hours discussing the journey so far, alongside Michaelis and a few other Sur al-Ramel. We've been suspecting sabotage or conspiracy against our company thanks to Kadira. At first, I thought he might have been making it up to cover for his own shortcomings, but now I see there might be some truth to it. We asked who told them that we were traveling without a guide, and they gave us a vague description of an older woman came to them in grey robes. She wore no distinguishing emblems and did not even say her name. This seems a deliberate choice to all of us. We are in agreement that our expedition is at odds with someone else's goals, but without knowing who they are, we don't know how to thwart them. We will remain vigilant though. Before leaving for the night, Baruch asked about the Valish tribe. They apparently caused quite the scene traveling through the Sural Ramal lands because they did not know they needed a local guide. They ended up trading for safe passage more than half the wares they intended to bring to Zahra to start their new life. If I find any while in the jungle, I intend to bring them back to the Valish so they can rebuild with what they can. Mikalis gave Baruch what he believes is the route the Valish took in the mountains. It's our hope this will be the fastest and safest way to their tribe. Journal 5. Nameless Hollowed. Being back in the Sural Ramal tribe has been conflicting. I have kept to myself and not spoken a word about myself to any of them despite their curiosity. They know I was born to the tribe as our leader told them in order to spare our lives. They ask my name and I cannot give them something I do not have. The company is curious about what I'll do with my share of the fulgurite when we return to Zahra. They seem to be under the impression I will be denying my portion and they've been preemptively increasing their own. But I intend to donate it to the Hollowed, while it is our belief that wealth is corrupting. Sadly, the rest of Zahra is driven by it. We cannot function and care for refugees and the poor without it. Once again today, we've encountered an obstacle. The Sural Ramal gave us information about the Valish and the safe passage toward the jungle. That led us to the Banu al-Ri. Our mysterious benefactor has arranged for us to ride upon the Banu al-Ri's great rocks over the Rukham Samir Mountains. Seeing the birds up close is magnificent, and I find myself eager to fly atop them. However, we have received some conflicting information about where we are to land. The Banu al-Ri will not take us all the way to the jungle, but they intend to leave us on the mountain to descend into the jungle ourselves. But now we're not certain where we should be landing. The Banu al-Ri told us that we need to fly close to Mir Dasun to find a path between peaks that can lead us to the jungle. But the Sural Ramal have told us that the Valish did not come that way. They insist they cross over one of the larger peaks, finding it to have the safest footing. The curious part about the Sural Ramal's story is the fact the Valish did not tell them this. A visitor came after they departed to speak with them. Only then did they share the information the Valish supposedly told them. We have all suspected some sort of sabotage on this mission, which is curious. We believe this bit of confusion is yet another instance of our expedition being tampered with. Our leader has decided that we are to follow the Banu al-Ri's advice. They were the ones paid for their service after all. And if we can stop in Mir Dasun to replenish some of our stores for the remainder of our journey, that would be comforting. The Banu al-Ri are prepared to take us at first light, and our company will be ready. Hopefully, we have not chosen poorly. Journal 6. Nisara Open Hand of the Illuminated Petal. I've never been one to believe in coincidences, but I might have to reconsider that after this expedition. The Banu al-Ri flew us over the mountains this morning. It's a true wonder how much faster we made it with them than we would have on foot. I can understand how they are so deeply connected to their birds now. Cutting through the air and feeling the mist of the clouds against my cheeks was exhilarating. It was a great disappointment to be locked to the earth once again as they flew away. But not long after we began walking this mountain road toward Mirdasun, we encountered a group of wayfarers that we discovered to be members of the Valish tribe. After Baruch used grammaturgy and created a glyph that allowed for translation, we spoke with them at length about what they had encountered. When first introduced, the Valish were rather hostile. We assured them we only wanted to help, but they repeatedly told us they would not go back. After calming them down, they told us a story of a stranger visiting their tribe who pleaded with them to stay in their lands. They knew it would mean death, but did not care. It is peculiar, to say the least. Why someone would encourage others to willingly lay down their lives is beyond comprehension. Perhaps they wanted an easier time retrieving the relic? The Valish gave no information that told us who they were or what people they might belong to. After assuring them we want to find safe passage to the city, they shared more details with us. Much of the information was already known to us. They told us about the omens they've experienced, what we know as signs of the old gods with different stages of infection. But what was new was how they interpreted it all. Many of their people died when the third signs came around. They attributed this death to an anger spirit, one they've been tending to for centuries. They told us a story that sent a chill through my spine about their tribe's true purpose. Their tribe was founded by a few nomads wandering the Azkora Jungle. They were one day approached by what their legends describe as a great mage. Although it seems details about who they might be or who they were affiliated with have been lost to time. These occultists presented them with an artifact called the Obsidian Reliquary, which has now become the object of our expedition's fancy. This relic is said to contain a powerful spirit, one that needed to be guarded and protected because if it fell into the wrong hands, the world would be in danger. The spirit bearer taught them how to tend to it, and they've cared for it ever since. The signs their tribe encountered have been attributed to the spirit being angered. When they told us that in order to stop the spread of these omens, they fed the reliquary more. When asked how, they told us they fed it, they're dead. The woman we spoke to at length, Junta, a spirit keeper, appears to be skilled with Timagora. We asked why they wouldn't take the reliquary with them when they left, and Junta told us that it was too volatile in its current state to be handled without proper care. They hoped to find an ally or descendant of the great mage in Zahra, knowing that's where he came from. We know nothing of our own benefactor, but our company has assumed that perhaps they are somehow related to this Valish great mage. If so, why not tell us what we are to encounter if it is so volatile? Would it not benefit us to know how to obtain this relic safely? We told the Valish about our journey and advised them to find a guide through Sural Ramal territory in Mirdasun. We are currently resting in a tavern on the outskirts of the city as Kadira attempts to gather provisions for the rest of our journey to the jungle. Baruch is studying his grammaturgy in the hopes of discovering a way to capture this artifact, while Zuel studies the map Junta gave us, leading to a large stone temple where the artifact is said to be kept. I have a bad feeling about this expedition now. The excitement has worn off for all of us, it seems. Whatever it is waiting for us in this temple has a greater importance than we realized at the start. And it already seems a great many have died in service to it. We can only hope our names will not be added to that list. Journal 7. Kadira the Caring. Ah, Mirdasun, how you have raised my spirits. With all the evidence of subversion and trickery at our feet regarding this expedition, it's clear to me now my failure in Zahra was not a shortcoming of my own. It eases my mind to know I can still negotiate an incredible bargain. It helps, of course, knowing that Mirdasun doesn't see travelers as frequently anymore. The city is in shambles, and they were happy for any amount of fulgurite I offered. How I wish my spirits could have stayed as high as they were this morning as we departed the once great city. Everything appeared normal at first. Then, after the sun peaked at noontime, we approached the jungle and reality set in. Traversing the jungle itself would be treacherous, but a jungle in the midst of the third signs would be far worse. We noticed odd things within minutes. Plant life that should have been lush and green was withered as if a blight had fallen upon the lands. In the heart of the decayed trees and grass was a sparkling orange flower, towering over us as it leaned toward the sun. The air around it shimmered and I felt it calling to me, enthralling me toward it. I found myself veering off the path to inspect this marvelous specimen up close. I was consumed with a need to touch it, to feel the velvety smooth petals between my fingertips and drink in the aroma. I was close, reaching out a hand to grasp it, when Zurel caught my arm and stopped me. He pulled me away from the flower and I felt it clawing deep inside me, desperate to get back. Baruch etched some sort of glyph on my forehead and I looked at the flower again to see it was gone. Standing in its place, where I almost touched, was a smoldering hole in reality that decay seemed to be oozing from. "Don't touch anything," Baruch shouted at us all before putting a protective glyph on us. He continued, "The infection wants you to see something else, something beautiful to hide its hideous nature. Stay vigilant and do not fall for its tricks." Even though I know now the flower was nothing more than a mirage, I still feel the hollow ache in my chest yearning for it. Journal 8. Zurel, watchful battle bringer of the kinship of the chimes of harmony. We made camp for the night under the canopy of the jungle. The humidity has been the most arduous part of our journey so far. As we walk carrying our provisions, I often find myself closing my eyes and forcing myself to breathe, recentering myself on the journey. I hear the soft chimes of my armor when I move, and it calms me deeply. More strange things have occurred today. Kadir has fallen prey to the infection's temptations. We are in a third signs area, and predicting what we encounter is impossible. We have no clue what might have become of him if he'd touched that hole in reality. Nasir seems to believe he'd have disintegrated and died instantly. Baruch wonders if it might have been some kind of portal. It isn't unheard of here for there to be bridges between parts of the collapsing areas. Idris at the library once gave a symposium about the third sign collapse near Morvac, where every step forward seemed to transport the locals backward more. We believe we're getting... The journal abruptly cuts off with a small spatter of blood on the upper right corner. Journal 9. Baruch Chainbreaker of the Guardians of the Vault. We should have been more watchful during our rest. The first arrow was shot at Zurel, grazing his ear as he wrote in his expedition journal. The lot of us were on our feet in an instant, ready to defend ourselves. Everything happened too fast though. The attackers were quick and nimble, the soft glow of their skin the only indication of where they were in the darkness. They carried bows and arrows, and the closer they got, obsidian-carved daggers. Nasira and Kadir are not trained fighters. Nasira's understanding of glyphs is rudimentary at best, so she focused on creating some protective wards around myself and Zurel. During the fight, I was knocked to the ground with my scimitar in hand, held above me as the only thing between me and what became clear was the emergent kinfolk attacking me. Seeing her up close, it was obvious. It explained the ethereal glow of her skin, like moonlight captured and held inside her. Her eyes glowed red as she snarled and tried to force the blade into my neck. I pushed back against her hard enough that my own palms were cut in the process. I'm writing this now with great trouble through the bandages. Zurel finished the kinfolk attacking him and knocked the woman on the back of her head, collapsing her. He was breathing heavy with his armor covered in blood, though only a small amount of it was his. The woman was kept alive for questioning. We knew the Baelish had seen emergent kinfolk during the second signs, so we hoped this might be some form of clue. When she awoke, angry and seething to be unrestrained, we questioned her. When we asked why she attacked us, we learned that she and her brother were cast out of their tribe due to their differences. The Baelish viewed them as abominations, cursed children brought upon them by the ire of their god. Ever since, they'd been traversing the jungle and they were informed by another traveler that someone would be coming through who planned on infiltrating the temple of their people, a land the emergent have only recently reclaimed as the Baelish fled. This confirms our fear that someone else is after the Obsidian Reliquary. We can only hope that we get to it first and retrieve it safely. After the conversation with her, we debated what to do, deciding to leave her tied up for now. On the way back, we'll untie her. Zurel and the Hollowed were both adamant we not harm anyone we don't need to. Nisara, on the other hand, has been focused on the comment the Emergent made about being seen as a sign from the Baelish's god. Knowing they've been sacrificing spirits only paints a more dangerous portrait of what awaits us within their temple. I fear we will be walking into a situation above our skills, but we've come so close and there is no turning back now. Journal 10. Nameless Hollowed. We reached the temple at nightfall, and seeing the state it is in, decided it best to camp for the night outside. None of us were expecting it to look this way. The stone temple is broken with stairs disjointed and floating unevenly in shimmering miasma, leading toward the entrance at the top. We do not know what is awaiting us inside, but we imagine it will be challenging to traverse. Our leader and shield captain have been theorizing uselessly about what to expect when they both know there is no possible way to predict it. Their theory is that some untethered reality we see outside will mimic the interior, and we'll have to memorize halls and passageways to create our own map of the temple. The field scholar has been roaming around the temple, taking meticulous notes on everything she's discovered, while our storemaster waits inside his tent with a bottle of mead he practically stole from a merchant in Mirdasun. Tomorrow we will enter the temple. We believe now that we're searching for some sort of divine relic, something that has allowed the Baelish to perform idolatry and commune with a god. I see danger in this mission now more than ever. Journal 11. Zurel, watchful battle-bringer of the kinship of the chimes of harmony. Navigating the stairs proved more complicated than we anticipated. Every step teleported us to different levels of the temple, none of us the same. It was impossible to detect a pattern in this senselessness. After hours of trial and error, all 5 of us reached the top and entered. I walked through the door first and was immediately surrounded by darkness, like the light of the day behind me was snuffed like a torch. I turned and tried to walk back, my footsteps echoing around me, but I quickly found that each step I took carried me much farther than possible. I lit my torch to help guide me, and it revealed nothing but black around me. I yelled for my companions and was met with silence. I ran and ran until I found something, anything to tell me where I was and hoped to find a way out. The first sign of anything was a glowing purple glyph against the wall, a sign, perhaps, of Baruch. It felt it took ages to approach the glyph, and when I finally stood before it, I was out of breath. I waited a few moments before reaching out to touch it, but with each second it was pulled away. Or was I pulled away? I ran toward it with a hand outstretched, ready to touch the carving the moment I could. As I did, I felt the floor pulling beneath my feet like sand and was quickly pulled down. I crashed on the ground in a dimly lit room with flickering torches lining stone walls. Kadir approached me then. His face was damp and his eyes frenzied. "Why have you done this?" he cried, shaking my shoulders furiously. He backed away from me, and it was then I noticed the scratches on his face, his clothes ripped to tatters around his chest. "What has happened to you?" I asked him. Kadir gulped and shook his head, backing away from me as his nostrils flared. He said, "You pretend not to know now?" He gestured to the bloody mess of his chest and winced. "Your hands did this, Zurel. You hunted us, chased us down the halls with a mad smile as if possessed." I stared in disbelief, not aware of anything I'd done. I was about to tell him how wrong he was, how the infection must create an illusion of me, when I noticed the blood beneath my fingernails and the scratches on my arms. Kadir ran from me and I did not chase him. I've sat in this room alone, staring at my hands and wondering what cruelty they might be capable of. What have I done? Journal 12. Kadir the Caring. Zurel was not himself, that much is clear. How could he have no memory of chasing us through the halls, the chimes on his armor ringing like a cruel chant, with his axe raised to fell us all? The halls of this temple do not end. I've been running endlessly trying to escape Zurel and search for the others. I finally came upon our hollowed in a state far worse than me. Her body was limp and broken, with sharp wounds from Zurel's axe in her chest and staining her grey robes. Her eyes were open with the fear and confusion permanently carved within them. I held my fingers over her eyelids and closed them, finding solace in the peaceful look after the fact. I wonder what has become of the others, Nasir and Baruch. Have they succumbed to whatever possessed Zurel's? There is a hasty smudge in the writing, written in the margins quickly, as if transcribing something. You have had a traitor among you this whole time, Kadir. He sold you out to the merchants in Zahra, tarnishing your name. He attempted to have you all killed by the Sural Ramal and the emergent kinfolk. How else would you have been hindered? He seeks to become a god himself. He will kill you and harvest your spirit to embolden himself and destroy Zahra, ushering a new world for himself. The journal continues. Someone speaks to me now as I sit in this room huddled in a corner, a voice that I cannot discern as in my own head or spoken in the open. It's loud and booming, shaking my bones with each word. It rambles about Zurel, him betraying us to deify himself. Surely he would not do that. But why else would he murder the Hollowed and try to kill us all? Marginal note. Come to the heart of the temple and claim the power for yourself. Only then can you defeat them and survive. The answer lies within the reliquary. The journal continues. A stone door has unsealed itself in this room. I know that within it, I will find the artifact. I will find it before Zurel can. I know now what I must do. Journal 13, the Zahra open hand of the illuminated petal. Baruch and I managed to stay together, but we know nothing of the others, of what happened to Zurel when he walked into the temple. As soon as we followed behind him, he turned to us with darkness in his eyes and unsheathed his axe. There was no speaking to him. The Hollow tried to calm him. He chased her first. They were gone before Zaruk could attempt weaving together a glyph to stop him. Despite it all, Baruch insists that it was not Zurel, that we may yet find him in these halls as alone and confused as we are. We walked for hours, listening for any signs of the others. The halls of the temple seem endless, and we continuously find new rooms with strange glyphs drawn on the floor. Baruch warns me against entering any of them. He doesn't recognize their meaning, but he worries they're mimetic, seeking to confuse us and lead to our undoing. Perhaps that's what happened with Zurel. We heard the unmistakable sound of stone shifting, which led us to the Hollow's body. It seems Zurel killed her. Kadir is still missing though, and there is an open door here. However, there is only darkness on the other side, and Buruk and I are too nervous to enter right now. We have decided to wait a while, rest, and prepare for what awaits us inside. Baruk studies his glyphs, and I have assessed the Hollowed's body. She was killed by an axe, but the peculiar thing is the signs of Timagora lingering on her body, a residual essence lingering that tells me her spirit is gone, not separated and in the claustrum, but reaped from her body. It reminds me of what the Valish said. They would feed the reliquary spirits of the dead. I have a sick feeling that whatever has manipulated our company in this way is acting in service of this reliquary and wants us all dead to feed it more. Journal 14. Baruch Chainbreaker, Guardians of the Vault. I am writing this journal with a heavy heart. I believe I am the last of the company remaining, though I have yet to see Zurel after his rampage. The Hollowed is dead, and I watched Nisara and Kadir disappear right before my eyes. Why I was left, I am unsure. Beyond this stone door, Nisara and I found the relic. That I am sure. It was seated upon a pedestal and surrounded by glowing torches with prismatic colors wavering. Kadir was there too. He stood motionless within the shimmering colors as if they had petrified him. Nisara wanted to reach out to pull him away, but I stopped her. I created a glyph to draw him closer to us, and as soon as he was out of the colorful light, he unfroze and told us everything he saw. How Zurel seemed not to be aware of his brutality, and how he discovered the hollow dead on the ground. Then he spoke of a voice confirming all of his worst fears as he entered the room. Then it seemed somehow to open the door to the reliquary. We have undoubtedly been sabotaged on our mission. I am almost certain a mimetic glyph was used to seed doubt in Kadir's head about Zurel. And now I know that Zurel was not himself. In fact, he may very well still be lost within the walls of this temple. As we stood speaking, the door behind us closed. There was nowhere to move but forward through the petrifying light. I created a glyph to protect us, to shroud us in impenetrable darkness in the hopes that it would aid us. It seemed to work. When we approached the reliquary, Nisara and I worked together to create a glyph to identify what it truly is. We'd all been speculating, but we needed confirmation before attempting to remove it from its pedestal and bring it to the library. But even standing close to it, I could feel the arcane intensity of it. The reliquary itself was unimpressive looking. An intricately carved chest of obsidian, reflecting the colorful light behind us on its unblemished surface. The corners of the chest all had tall figures holding long staves and swords carved in intricate detail. A small bronze clasp is all that held it closed. Standing nearby, I felt the urge to unclasp the lid and see whatever was housed within the opaque chest for myself. I felt a pull to reach out, to lift it, to peer inside. It called to me, and everything else seemed to vanish as I reached forward. Nisara stopped me, reminding me of my own words in the jungle with Kadir and the flower. We finished our glyph soon after, and revealed the secret of what the reliquary housed. A bone fragment. A small, jagged fragment of a bone, believed to belong to one of the giants slain in the rebellion war. It all makes sense now. We weren't told about it because otherwise, no amount of fulgurite would have sent us here. To feed this fragment is to make a deal with an impetuous god who would wreak havoc on our lands. The Valish have been humoring it, giving its spirits true Thymagora, empowering it. And our benefactor knew what it was. They wanted a piece of a god for whatever reason they might have. The ways it could be used to topple our civilization sent me to my knees. Kadir stepped forward first, emboldened by something I can't understand. Before Nisara or I could stop him, his fingers unclasped the lid, and it shut open. It felt like the air had been siphoned from the room. Dust and sharp particles whipped around us. I felt it clawing into my skin, each pore individually filling with only what I can describe as rot. My body felt leadened, heavy and frozen. I collapsed on the ground, looking behind me to see the horror on Nisara's face as she was drawn backward, clawing at the ground. Kadir stood by the reliquary, frozen once again as he held it open. I looked back at the ground, hastily scratching a glyph from memory on the stone. I felt the air relax around me, and I took a sharp, desperate breath as a small bubble of safety fell around me. I watched as every bone in my body trembled as Kadir and Nisara were both pulled into the reliquary, wrapped by the particles in the air and lifted by unseen hands. It struggled to grasp at me within my safe walls, and whatever empowered it gave up. The lid slammed shut, and in its wake, the light in the room vanished. I was left utterly alone in the dark. Now that the reliquary is closed, I'm trapped here. The door is closed, and I fear my only way out is death. Perhaps there's something beyond the obsidian walls of the reliquary, but I am not eager to find out what became of my companions. Zurel might be my only hope of safety, if he is still alive. Journal 15. Zurel, watchful battle-bringer, of the kinship of the chimes of harmony. I am being punished for my violation of the hallowed. Oh, how I wish I knew her name. To think of one I've slain and be unable to mourn them properly brings me sorrow. I do not think I will ever leave these walls. Every corridor I walk, every door, stairway, leads nowhere. It's an unending maze of stone. I leave marks and scratches to try to map my way but never encounter them again. This place defies reason. It is a nightmare sent directly from the twisted dreamland of Mirelia. Cursed place. Her voice haunts me now. It bellows through rooms following me, beating me to halls and rooms, taunting me, calling me a killer, a murderer, reminding me that I bring shame to the kinship. I know I am best forgotten. I do not have a home to return to knowing what I have done. Even if I was not in my right mind, my hands committed atrocities I cannot bear. My only hope is to find the others, to see to their safety like I swore to them I would. But deep inside, I know I need this for myself more than anything else. I need to know I did not fail them all like the Hollowed. I need to know they ran as far from me as possible, retrieved the cursed relic, and left me here to rot in this stone tomb. Journal 16. Baruch Chainbreaker of the Guardians of the Vault. I have no way of knowing how much time has passed. The only thing I know is my own thirst and hunger. It could have been minutes or hours, perhaps days. I am wary to say weeks, but the darkness plays tricks. I fear I am almost out of fire supplies, and this might be my last entry. Without food or light, there is no hope for me. The reliquary looks more tempting with each passing second. Perhaps a quick death is better than withering to bone dust on the ground. I do not know what fate truly awaits me should I open the box, but if it is promising, if there is life beyond the whirlwind of dust and decay, then I shall write about it in detail. If not, then farewell. That was the last known entry of Baruch Chainbreaker, of all the Company of Nine Measures for that matter. But I remind you, dear friends, these journals were discovered outside the temple. How they wound up there is yet another mystery waiting to be uncovered. But if there is one thing I know, it won't be the last time we read of this artifact. It is incredible in nature and undoubtedly going to be highly sought after. To think the possibility of a fragment of an old god existing today, being fed spirits. It sounds intimidating, I know. The rebellion war was fought over 1,000 years ago, and we've had our freedom ever since. And ever since the giants were cast out of Aporia, we've heard nothing of them. That, my friends, is precisely why we need this artifact. Aporia is unraveling by the day. Refugees flood the great city of Zahra as our world is torn apart around us. To understand the very fabric of our world, we must understand our creation. That is why this artifact is of the utmost importance. We may yet one day know the truth of the Obsidian Reliquary and learn what happened to the Company of Nine Measures. But for now, we carry all of their names with us and remember the sacrifice they made to preserve the rapidly fading history of Aporia.
This account is now entered into the record of the Hall of Echoes. Some of what you have heard tonight is confirmed. Some remains disputed. All of it has been preserved because silence too alters the future. The Hall of Echoes continues its work through those willing to support the preservation of testimony, field reports, and recovered records from lands already sleeping beyond reach. Those who wish to patronage future reports may do so through the library's public ledger at patreon.com/Echoes of Aporia. And if this account proves worth remembering, carry it with you. Speak it clearly. Repeat it faithfully where knowledge is needed. The Hall exists so that truth may travel further than silence. I am Idris Nahir, Keeper of Echoes for the Library of Zahra.
No great stay, no new homes where third sides play, no great heroes, no last stand. Leave the place, take who you can. First you watch and second you go. Third you never choose to know. The world warns soft before it screams. It eats the bold who miss the seams. Those who listen live and tell songs of places that fell to hell.